Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into one of the most chilling and sinister cold cases in history. The disturbing and sinister case of Hilda Forgan. Some stories don't just fade away with time. Instead, they remain buried beneath the dark pages of history, hiding a truth far too twisted for the human mind to comprehend. Occurring in the late 19th century, the disappearance of Hilda Forgan was not just a simple crime or a mystery, it was a nightmare that sent shockwaves through an entire generation. Look closely at this old vintage photograph. Hidden behind the innocent faces of these children lies a dark shadow that destroyed an entire family. What really happened inside that silent, locked room that fateful night? Our story begins in a quiet, isolated town where Hilda Forgan lived with her family. To the outside world, they appeared to be a peaceful, respected, and well-off family. But if you look closely at their old surviving photographs, there is a strange, unsettling silence in their eyes, a silence that warned of an impending storm. While the townsfolk held the Forgan family in high regard, the reality behind closed doors was vastly different. Hilda was a quiet girl, distant from other children her age. She spent endless hours alone, staring at old documents and family heirlooms. Locals whispered that strange, unexplainable sounds echoed from the Forgan home late into the night. Then came a freezing winter night that changed everything. The entire town was shaken when Hilda suddenly vanished from her bedroom. There was no sign of forced entry. The doors were locked, and the windows remained shut from the inside. But lying on the floor in the center of her room was an old family photograph, marked with strange blood-red symbols. When the local police arrived, they initially assumed it was a standard kidnapping. But as they searched the house, they uncovered something far more sinister than a simple human grudge. Hidden deep inside the basement, they discovered a dusty, leather-bound diary that completely flipped the entire case upside down. The discovery of the leather-bound diary marked the turning point of the entire investigation, transforming a simple missing person search into a sinister journey into the dark history of the Forgan family. As detectives carefully turned the fragile, aged pages, they realized that Hilda had not been taken by a stranger. She had been harboring a secret that consumed her life for months, leading up to her disappearance. The entries detailed a series of strange occurrences within the household, unexplained shadows moving through the hallways at night, whispers coming from the attic, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Hilda wrote about discovering hidden compartments behind the walls of her own room, where her ancestors had stored bizarre symbols, and sealed envelopes that were never meant to see the light of day. As the police dug deeper into the town's history, they uncovered a dark truth that the locals had buried for decades. Generations ago, the Forgan family was tied to an obscure, secretive group known for performing midnight rituals in the dense woods surrounding the town. According to old archive town records, multiple unexplained disappearances had occurred in the area over the past century, each coinciding with the same date Hilda vanished. The investigation took an even more terrifying turn when forensic officers examined the blood-red markings on the family photograph left in Hilda's room. The symbols matched the exact markings described in the diary's final pages, symbols used to mark someone chosen for a final dark ritual. Detectives quickly called in specialists to analyze the photographic plate itself. What they found shocked everyone involved. Using magnifying lenses, experts noticed a faint, terrifying detail in the background of the original photograph. A shadowy figure standing just behind the children, completely unnoticed when the picture was taken. This was not a flaw in the camera lens. It was proof that someone or something had been stalking the family from within their own home. Suspicion immediately shifted to those closest to Hilda. Was a family member involved in a generational cult? Or had Hilda uncovered a dangerous secret that someone was willing to kill for? The deeper the authorities searched, the more they realized that the truth was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. With the discovery of the shadowy figure in the vintage photograph, the investigation exploded into a full-scale manhunt. Detectives began re-questioning every living, relative and acquaintance of the Forgan family, looking for any clue that could explain who had been hiding in the shadows. The local police chief, determined to break the silence, ordered a complete floor-to-ceiling search of the entire Forgan estate. They brought in heavy tools to tear away the wooden paneling in the basement, where the diary had been recovered. What they found hidden behind the foundation wall sent a chill through the entire search team. Behind a false brick wall lay a narrow, cobblestone corridor that extended far beyond the boundary of the home, leading directly toward the abandoned iron mines at the edge of town. The corridor was cold, damp, and lined with old iron lanterns that appeared to have been lit recently. Wax drippings on the stone floor proved that someone had been navigating this secret passage just days before. Hilda's disappearance. As officers advanced through the dark tunnel, they found personal items belonging to Hilda, a dropped silver locket, pages torn from her journal, and scraps of fabric from the dress she was last seen wearing. It was clear that Hilda had either fled through this tunnel or had been forcibly dragged into the dark depths beneath the earth. Meanwhile, forensic experts analyzing the symbols left at the crime scene made a breakthrough. The markings were not ancient folklore. They were a specific code used by a high society, underground syndicate from the late 1800s. This group was known for extortion, illegal human trials, and erasing entire families who dared to expose their network. Hilda's journal entries suddenly made terrifying sense. She hadn't just stumbled upon family secrets. She had uncovered evidence that prominent leaders of the town were actively funding this dark syndicate. The realization hit the investigators like a hammer. Hilda wasn't just a victim of a local crime. She was a witness who knew too much. And the people hunting her held positions of authority within the very town trying to solve her case. The revelation that town officials were linked to the dark syndicate changed everything. Detectives realized they were running out of time as evidence began mysteriously vanishing from the police station. Determined to find Hilda before it was too late, a small group of trusted officers pushed deeper into the underground mine tunnels. The path was treacherous, filled with decaying wooden supports and pitch-black caverns. After hours of tracking footmarks in the damp mud, they reached a massive subterranean chamber hidden beneath an old, abandoned chapel. Inside, the air was heavy with the smell of kerosene, and the walls were covered in the same ominous red symbols found in Hilda's bedroom. In the center of the chamber sat a massive wooden desk piled high with ledger books, documents, and framed photographs. Among them was the original glass plate negative of the Forgan family portrait. When officers held the glass up to the lantern light, the shocking truth was revealed. The shadowy figure behind the children wasn't a stranger or a ghost. It was Hilda's own uncle, a prominent figure who had officially been declared dead 15 years earlier. He had faked his death to operate the syndicate's local network from the shadows, using the secret tunnels beneath the Forgan estate as his command center. Hilda had accidentally discovered his hidden sanctuary while exploring the basement, forcing him to act before she could reveal his survival to the world. Near the back of the chamber, officers discovered a heavy iron door locked from the outside. When they forced it open, they found a small cell containing Hilda's coat and her final handwritten note, pushed under a loose floorboard. The note revealed that she had managed to escape through a ventilation shaft leading up to the riverbank, just hours before the police arrived. Although Hilda was never officially located, records show that key members of the syndicate were quietly arrested in the weeks following the discovery. The case of Hilda? Forgan remains one of the most chilling mysteries of the 19th century. A story of hidden tunnels, faked deaths, and a young girl who uncovered a secret dark enough to haunt a town for generations. Decades have passed since that dark morning in June 1922. Yet the haunting story of Henry Jacoby continues to resonate deeply within the history of modern true crime. What began as a foolish, split-second decision by a desperate teenager turned into one of the most debated legal tragedies in modern British history. It served as a stark reminder of how quickly a life can be ruined when poverty, panic, and an unforgiving judicial system collide. For legal historians and criminal investigators, the case of Henry Jacoby remains a textbook study in judicial reform. In the years following his execution, the public backlash over the striking inequality between his fate and that of wealthy offenders played a significant role in changing public perception regarding capital punishment. People began to openly question whether the state should hold the power to take a young life when mercy was so clearly warranted by the circumstances. While Henry's actions that night inside Hotel Spencer were undeniably tragic and resulted in the loss of an innocent life, his story forces us to look beyond the surface of a simple crime. It pushes us to examine the complex human emotions of fear, desperation, and panic, as well as the societal conditions that drive individuals toward catastrophic choices. The tragedy lies not only in the death of Lady Alice White, but also in the systemic failure to grant a young boy a second chance at redemption. Today, the dark story of Henry Julius Jacoby stands as a sobering tale from the archives of history, a narrative that highlights the delicate balance between justice and mercy, and the lasting consequences of choices made in moments of sheer desperation. Thank you for watching this deep dive into one of history's most disturbing true crime cases. If you found this video insightful and engaging, please make sure to click the like button and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think the court's decision was fair, or should Henry have received mercy? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notification alerts so you never miss another captivating historical crime story. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.